It's good to have you join us for the program from the National Assembly. I am Mitaire Ikben. Lawmakers are currently visiting ministries, departments, and agencies of government for pre-budget oversight, all in a bid to ascertain the releases and judicious use of budgetary allocations for 2024, while expecting the money bill for 2025. Before going on a 2-week recess for oversight visits, the House of Representatives passed for second reading a bill for an act to alter the 1999 Constitution as amended to provide for an increase in the percentage of revenue accruing to states from the Federation account based on derivative principle. This was during the House plenary of Wednesday, 23rd of October, 2024, where lawmakers also passed a resolution seeking urgent measures to address challenges bedeviling the sports sector in Nigeria.
Almighty God, creator and ruler of heaven and earth, we beseech thee to inspire and guide all our counsels and actions, so that we may always walk in the path of justice, love, and charity to one another. Help us with thy grace to do only those things that will promote the unity, peace, happiness, and prosperity of Nigeria. Meetings of Tuesday, 22nd October, 2024. Any member with petition? Do you have any petition?
Yes, sir.
Please go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, I have petition from Ibrahim Badur against Nigerian Air Force for unlawful dismissal, dated 29th day of July 2024. Another petition, Mr. Speaker, from the Flourish Legal Consult, dated 5th day of September, complaint against the breach of data of Mr. Obonna Anya against United Bank of Africa for opening an account without his knowledge and consent and using it to access credit during the COVID era. Another petition is from Dennis Idume, petition against Nigerian Ajib Oil Limited for unpaid compensation claim arising from NLO crude oil for the people fishing in the village in southern Asia. Another petition is from Mr. Toko Orok and Austin Sunday against Nigerian police for non-payment of the entitlement after they were dismissed after their retirement. With the kind permission, Mr. Speaker, I crave your indulgence to lay this petition.
I have a petition from one Samuel Wisdom against the Nigerian Police Academic Wudil. It's a complaint against his discharge and dismissal from the academic after spending 5 years, just about 3 to 6 months before his graduation. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, with your kind permission, Mr. Speaker, may I lay this petition before this honorable House, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.
Please go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, I have a petition from Sani and Co., solicitors and Notary Public, on the cruel and unjust murder of Bappa Usman Saidu. They wrote this petition against the Inspector General of Police and the Kaduna State Commissioner of Police and Divisional Police Officer Kabala West. I seek your permission to lay this petition, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.
This is a petition signed by one Lawrence Machi on behalf of the petitioner, Mr. First Peel Investment Limited. Mr. Speaker, it is a petition against the Chief Medical Director, Nnamdi Azikiwe University Teaching Hospital, NEWI, and the Chairman of the University Teaching Hospital, the Board. It is a petition for wrongful termination of contract and for the work done and loss of profit as a result of the wrongful termination of the contract for the construction of an operating theater complex at the Nnamdi Azikiwe University Teaching Hospital permanent site in Nnewi, Anambra State. Kindly permit me to lay the petition, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Please go ahead. If Honorable Isechi is ready, please can you rise and move your motion?
Mr. Speaker, I come under Order 8, Rule 5, to enable me move this motion of urgent public importance, titled Urgent Need to Address the Perennial Flooding Crisis in Ndokwa Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Mr. Speaker, I rise this moment to second that motion. I so second.
Motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. That is have it.
I rise here this morning to move a motion of urgent public importance on the need to address the perennial flooding crisis in Ndokwa Federal Constituency. The House knows that the Ndokwa Federal Constituency, comprising of Ndokwa East, Ndokwa West, and Ndokwa local government area in Delta State, is once again facing severe flooding in 2024, with multiple communities already displaced, infrastructure damage, and residents struggling for survival. The House also notes that this year's flooding, which has begun earlier than expected, has affected several communities in Ndokwa East, including Uchi, Abala, Okpai, Beneku, Abaragada, Abo, Osafo, Onya, Utoku, Ibuku, Ibrede, Iyedami, Lagos Yede, Adiobiaka, Ibedeni, Umolu, Onogboko, Osisa, Afon, Onwabo, Inyi, Ushe, Ashaka, and part of Utagbogbe in Ndokwa West local government area. The House further notes that the recurring nature of flooding is devastating these areas year after year, destroying farmlands, homes, schools, and essential public infrastructure, while displacing thousands of residents and severely affecting the livelihood of the agrarian population. Concerned that despite past intervention by the federal and state government, the flooding crisis continues to worsen due to inadequate flood management system, poor drainage infrastructure, and the absence of long-term mitigation measures. The House worried that if immediate action is not taken to address the flooding, the humanitarian crisis will escalate further, leading to loss of lives and increased poverty, food insecurity, destruction of properties, displacement of entire communities with severe social and economic consequences. The House be aware of the coordinated federal response involving the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, Ecological Fund Office, and other relevant federal and state agencies to provide both short-term relief and long-term flood prevention measures in Ndokwa Federal Constituency. The House resolved urge the federal government through the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency to immediately assess the flooding situation in Ndokwa Federal Constituency of Delta State and develop a comprehensive plan to prevent further destruction and displacement. Call on the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to provide urgent relief materials, including food, shelter, medical supplies, and other necessities to the displaced families and residents in these affected communities within Ndokwa Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, the House mandates the Ecological Fund Office to release necessary funds to support erosion and flood control projects in Ndokwa East, Ndokwa West, and Ukwane local government area, with a focus on developing sustainable drainage systems, riverbank protection, and flood barriers. And finally, Mr. Speaker, Your Excellency, direct the House Committee on Environment, Emergency and Disaster Management, and Water Resources to monitor the implementation of flood mitigation strategies in Ndokwa Federal Constituency, ensuring adequate resources are allocated for both immediate response and long-term solution. Mr. Speaker, Your Excellency, honorable colleagues, I so move.
I rise to second this motion, ably moved by my colleague. I so second.
Those against say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committees on Environment, Disaster Management and Preparedness, Ecological Fund, Water Resources for further legislative action. The next motion is coming from Honorable Mansour Manusoro. If you are ready, please kindly rise and move your motion.
I rise pursuant to Order 8, Rule 5, to present a motion of urgent national importance before this House on the need to address the unending power grid collapse and the current darkness affecting the entire northern region. I wish to seek the kind indulgence of the House for me to present this motion. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion ably moved by my friend and brother, Mansour Soro, to allow him take a matter that all of us are aware is very, very important and at the same time urgent.
Vote of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it.
The House notes that the criticality of our supply to the economic advancement of any given nation cannot be overemphasized. Further note that power supply remains indispensable to facilitating the production of goods and services in any given economy. The House is informed that the Nigerian nation has continued to witness unending power grid collapses with 8 incidences occurring in 2024 so far. The House is disturbed that the entire state in the northeast, northwest, and some part of the north central zones has been thrown into darkness over the last 2 days in what the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, described as faulty transmission lines. The House is worried that the unending grid collapse is coming at a time of worsening national hardship caused by the extreme naira devaluation embarked upon by the Central Bank of Nigeria. The House is regretting that this sad development is coming at a time when the Honorable Minister of Power has given assurances to the nation of a stable power sector during the increase in power tariff. The House resolved as follows: to mandate the House Committee on Power to investigate this unending power grid collapse, and the House Legislative Committee on Compliance to ensure compliance. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
I rise to second the motion, urgent need, important, by Honorable Mansour Manusoro. I so second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I rise to amend that motion to read that the Committee on Power do investigate this and get back to the House in 3 weeks. Thank you. I so amend.
I rise to second the amendment ably moved by my brother, Honorable Osova. I so second, Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues.
Those in support of this motion as amended should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committee on Power for further legislative action. The next motion is coming from Honorable Engineer Anayo B. Omoeba. If Honorable Anayo is around, please can you rise and move your motion? Honorable Anayo.
I rise, relying on the 8th Rule 5, to seek the leave of this House to move this motion of urgent national importance on the need for federal government to include Ivo multipurpose dam for urgent completion as a result of overflooding of the reservoir, which has led to flooding of farmlands, homes, and communities in our Nigerian local government area of Enugu State and environs. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I so move.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion that this motion is urgent enough to be heard. Mr. Speaker, I so second.
Those against should say nay. The ayes have it.
I rise this morning to move this urgent motion, which seeks for an urgent need for federal government to include Ivo multipurpose dam for urgent completion as a result of overflow of the reservoir, which led to flooding of farmlands, homes, and communities in the Nigerian local government area of Enugu State. The House notes that Ivo multipurpose dam is an ongoing project that is sited at the agrarian land of some communities in the Nigerian local government area of Enugu State. This project, which was awarded sometime in 2009 by federal government of Nigeria through Federal Ministry of Water Resources for purposes of providing irrigation services for agricultural activities to farmers to enhance dry season farming as well as water supply and hydropower schemes. The House notes that the Ivo multipurpose dam was designed to have a reservoir capacity of about 20 million cubic meters of water, and the project has attained about 80% job completion when budgetary provision for its contribution dropped so low, thereby leading to works abandonment. The House is disturbed that every rainy season, the dam reservoir usually overflows, thereby causing flooding of communities within its environs. The House is also disturbed that this year's rain has caused overflow of the reservoir, which overstretched the uncompleted spillway, thereby leading to flooding of the entire community within our local government area of Enugu State, and even neighboring Isiago community in Ebonyi State. The House is aware that the dam was conceptualized to enhance and promote agricultural activities and provide water for the entire people in that local government area and even beyond. The House is further aware that the flooding from the uncompleted dam spillway have visited ruin and untold hardship on the people of this area as it has destroyed farmlands with crops like cassava, rice, yams, corns, and other perennial crops, which were washed away by the ravaging flood water in the last 3 weeks and continue to impart misery and untold losses on the people. The House is concerned that the destruction visited by the flood water was not restricted to farmlands alone, as it even extended to residential areas in Impu community of Banco, Isiago, and its environs, as lots of persons have been rendered homeless without any means of sustenance. The House is hereby urged to resolve to all the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to immediately provide relief materials to the affected persons in Opanko and Isha communities with food, medical supplies, and beddings to ameliorate the suffering of these people. The House is hereby also requested to resolve to urge the Federal Ministry of Water Resources to prioritize the commission of this project by including it among the dams slated to receive immediate attention from the special fund of federal government of about 340 billion, recently earmarked by the federal government for the habilitation of flood-threatened dams that are in urgent need of attention, like the Ivo Dam. The House is further requested to resolve and mandate the House Committees on Water Resources, Emergency and Disaster Preparedness and Climate Change to carry out on-the-spot assessment of the areas with a view to ensuring that this dam is completed so as to forestall the occurrence of this flooding menace on the people of this area. The House is further resolved, finally, to mandate the House Committee on Legislative Compliance to ensure compliance.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I so move. This motion is referred to the Committees on Water Resources, Emergency and Disaster Preparedness, and Climate Change for further legislative action. Honorable colleagues, the first business of the day is presentation of report of the Conference Committee on a bill for an act to provide for establishment of Nigerian Maritime University, Okeren Koko, and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Francis Erujugeni Waeve. Honorable Waeve is hereby invited to present the report. Is the sponsor of the bill around? Because Waeve is not with us this morning. Is he there? Please go ahead and present report.
I rise this morning to move that the House do receive the report of the Conference Committee on a bill for an act to provide for establishment of Nigerian Maritime University, Okeren Koko, and for related matters. May I see the leave of Mr. Speaker to lay this.
I hereby second the presentation being moved by my brother, Honorable Fatoba. I so second.
Please go ahead and lay your report. The second business of the day is presentation of report of the Conference Committee on a bill for an act to domesticate and enforce in Nigeria the International Convention Against Doping in Sports, establish the Nigeria Anti-Doping Center to implement Nigeria's obligation to the World Anti-Doping Code, international standards and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Mohammed Buba Jajiri. Honorable Jajiri is hereby invited to present his report.
I request that the House do receive the report of the Conference Committee on a bill for an act to domesticate and enforce in Nigeria the International Convention Against Doping in Sports, establish the Nigeria Anti-Doping Center to implement Nigeria's obligations to the World Anti-Doping Code, international standards, and for related matters. I want to seek the permission of Mr. Speaker and the Honorable House to lay the report.
I rise to second that this report should be led by my Deputy Honorable Muhammad Buba Jajiri. I so second, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Those against, you say nay. The ayes have it. Please go ahead.
Order, please.
Presentation of three reports of the Committee on Health Institution, standing in the name of Honorable Amos Gomna Magaji. Honorable Magaji is hereby invited to present the report.
Mr. Speaker, I do hereby move that one, that the House do receive the report of Committee on Health Institution on a bill for an act to amend the Federal Medical Centers Act and establish Federal Medical Center Ikole Ekiti, Ekiti State, and for related matters, HB 1037. Number two, I do move that the House do receive the report on Committee on Health Institution on a bill for an act to provide the establishment of Federal College of Nursing and Midwifery, Ikosu, Mobile Local Government Area of Ekiti State, and for related matters, HB 782. Lastly, that the House do receive the report of the Committee on Health Institutions on a bill for an act to amend the Federal Medical Centers Act and establish Federal Medical Center Fege, Kanu State, and for related matters, HB 94. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
I rise to second the motion as ably moved by my colleague, Honorable Amos Gomna Magaji. I so second, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Those against, you say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Amos, please proceed and lay your report. The first order of the day is the third reading of a bill for an act to establish the National Institute for Educational Planning and Administration, Ondo City, Ondo State, and for related matters, standing in the name of the House Leader. Honorable members will recall that the House adopted the report of the Committee of the Whole on the bill on Tuesday, October 22nd, 2024. The second one is the third reading of a bill for an act to establish the Chartered Institute of Training and Development of Nigeria to set standards and skills to be attained by individuals or corporate entities seeking to engage in provisions of capacity development services in Nigeria to ensure effective practice and for related matters. The next one is a bill for an act to establish the Chartered Institute of Training and Development of Nigeria to set standards and skills to be attained by individuals or corporate entities seeking to engage in provisions of capacity development services in Nigeria to ensure effective practice and for related matters. The next one is a bill for an act to amend the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria, Act Cap A12, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to make provision for establishment of Federal College of Agriculture, Ise Ikiti State, and for related matters standing in the name of the House Leader. The fourth one is the third reading of a bill for an act to amend the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria, Act Cap A12, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, to make provision for establishment of Federal College of Agriculture, Misau, Bauchi State, and for related matters. The fifth one is the third reading of a bill for an act to amend the Federal Universities of Agriculture, Act Cap F22, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, to establish Federal University of Agriculture, Akonike, Enugu State, and for related matters. The sixth one is the third reading of a bill for an act to amend the Criminal Code Act Cap C38, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to provide stiffer penalties to selected sections of the Act and for related matters. Leader, please, if you can consider the sixth.
I rise to move that the following bills be taken for third reading by the House. SB 40, HB 1550, HB 52, HB 486, HB 530, and HB 151, as ably, effectively, and very clearly adumbrated by the Right Honorable Speaker. I so move. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion moved by the House Leader that the sixth bill should be, the third reading of the sixth bill, 1 to 6, SB 40, HB 1550, HB 52, HB 486, HB 530, and HB 151. I hereby second, Mr. Speaker.
Those against you say nay. The ayes have it. Bills read for the third time and passed. The day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to repeal the National Honours Act Cap N43, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and the Nigerian National Merit Award Act Cap N122, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and enact the Nigerian National Honours and Merit Award Commission to, among other things, provide for establishment of a commission to regulate matters related to national honors and merit award in Nigeria and for related matters, standing in the names of Honorable Abbas Tajuddin and Honorable Babajimi Benson. Honorable members recall that the bill was read the first time on Thursday, 5th July 2023. I now invite Honorable Benson to move that the bill be read a second time.
Mr. Speaker, I stand to propose that a bill for an act to repeal the National Honors Act, Cap number 43, Laws of Federation of Nigeria, 2004, and the Nigerian National Merit Award Act, Cap 122, Laws of the Federation, 2004, should be read a second time. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I stand very strongly this morning to second the motion by the Wakili of Ian Zazzau. I do second.
Those against, you say nay. That is have it. Honorable Benson, just highlight the key areas of this bill for us to put the question.
Is a bill for an act to repeal the National Honors Act and the Nigerian Merit Award Act, and enact a totally new comprehensive Nigerian National Honors and Merit Awards Commission Act to, among other things, provide for the establishment of a commission that will provide regulations for matters related to National Honors and Merit Award in Nigeria. The simple amendment we're trying to do is provided in only 7 sections. If this is passed, we hope and pray that there will be more competence in choosing people, well-deserving Nigerians, to be given national awards. The amendment and intent of this bill is simple. It is to make the award and nomination for national awards to be merit-based. It's that simple, Mr. Speaker, and I so propose that this bill be passed for a second time.
This motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. That is have it. Bill referred to the Committee on Intergovernmental Affairs for further legislative action. The 8th order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to provide for establishment of Federal University of Health Sciences, thus Bauchi State, and for related matters. Standing in the name of Honorable Jafaru Gambaleko, honorable members recall that the bill was read the first time on Wednesday, July 26, 2023. I now invite Honorable Leko to move that the bill be read a second time.
I stand before you this afternoon to present a bill for an act to provide for establishment of Federal University of Health Science in DAS, Bauchi State, and for related matters, HB 287. I so move, Mr. Speaker, respected colleagues.
Your Excellency, I stand to second the motion that the bill, as read by my twin brother, be read for the second time. I so move. I so second. Thank you.
Those against you say nay. That is have it. Bill referred to the Committee on Health Institutions for further legislative action. The 9th order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, to provide for increment in the percentage of revenue based on derivative principle accruing to the Federation account directly from natural resources and for related matters. Standing in the name of Honorable Mark Udo Iset, honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Thursday, October 10, 2024. I will now invite Honorable Iset to move that the bill be read a second time.
Mr. Speaker, I rise this morning to move a motion that a bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, to provide for increments in the percentage of revenue based on derivation principles accruing to the Federation account directly from the natural resources for related matters, HB 1540, be read a second time. I so move.
I rise this morning to second the motion ably moved by my colleagues. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. That is have it. Honorable Esed, can you just briefly give us a brief of this about this bill for members to be accordingly guided.
Encourage states, all the states of the Federation, to develop all the God-given natural resources that we have. It will discourage states from overdependence on the federal allocation that comes to their states. And Mr. Speaker, as you all know, there are processes ongoing that many of the laws we find in the exclusive list. There's been an agitation that they should also be moved to the congruent list where states can have equal right. For example, Mr. Speaker, the issue of correctional centers where states can also build and also take responsibility to renovate, which hitherto has been the responsibility of the federal government. And if this is the light of the day, Mr. Speaker, we know that a lot of funds will be needed for the states to carry out this responsibility. Secondly, there's been a very loud and wide cry for state policing across the country to help stem the tides of insecurity we have. And whereby this is the light of the day, Mr. Speaker, states, we need a lot of resources to cater for the security apparatus that will be carried out in the states. And as such, Mr. Speaker, Nigeria is blessed with a lot of natural resources. Mr. Speaker, if you go to the northern part of the state, we have natural resources like the kaolin, diatomite, calcium, coal, and ginseng, a lot of natural resources in the north. In the south, same. There are a lot of natural resources. And Mr. Speaker, these resources have not been fully tapped for the benefit of the federal government and the state. And when this law is passed, Mr. Speaker, it will encourage states to go into the full development of these natural resources to the benefit of the state, having in mind the revenue derivation they will have. So, honorable colleagues, I seek your support that this bill be read a second time. Thank you.
I rise, Mr. Speaker, not to really say much, since you have given my colleague the opportunity to articulate the position. And by the position of the House, usually on this constitutional amendment, I just want to pray, Mr. Speaker, that the bill be referred to the Committee on Constitutional Amendment, and where they look at this postulation and do justice. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Be referred to the Committee on Constitutional Review for further legislative action. The 10th order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, to create Isu, Njaba, and Ikwere Nwangele federal constituencies from the present Isul, Njaba, Ikwere Nwangele federal constituency within Imo State, to enhance democratic representation and governance by ensuring that the populations of these areas have adequate and equitable representation in the House of Representatives, to address the unique socio-political and developmental needs of the Isu, Njaba, Nkwere, and Nwangele communities and for related matters. Standing in the name of Honorable Harrison and Nozi Nwadike, honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Thursday, 11 July 2024. I now invite Honorable Nwadike to move that the bill be read a second time.
Mr. Speaker, I'm a native of Isu clan in Imo State, and I arise this afternoon to propose a bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, to create Isu, Njaba, and Nkwere Nwangele federal constituencies from the present Isu, Njaba, Nkwere Nwangele federal constituency within Imo State, to enhance democratic representation and governance by ensuring that the populations of these areas have adequate and equitable representation in the House of Representatives to address the unique socio-political and developmental needs of the Isu, Njaba, Nkwere, Wangele communities, and for related matters, HB 1585. I so move.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion ably moved by my colleague. I so second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. The 11th order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to alter Section 162, subsection 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, and for related matters. Standing in the name of Honorable Awaji Inumbek D. Abiente and 8 others. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Wednesday, November 7, 2024. I will now invite Honorable Abiente to move that the bill be read a second time.
Mr. Speaker and my colleagues, I rise to seek that Section 162, sub 2 of the Constitution be altered. And in line with our practice, I appeal to my colleagues to also allow this to have the privilege, like several others have also had, to be moved to the Committee on Constitutional Review to consider the merits and otherwise of this proposed alteration for the benefit of Nigeria and Nigerians. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My colleagues.
Any seconder?
Mr. Speaker, I rise this morning to second that HB 848 should be read the second time.
To highlight on the key issues contained in this particular bill, and then we give 1 or 2 people opportunity to comment.
Mr. Speaker, I want to refer us to one portion of our old-new national anthem, that we should build a nation by the grace of God where no man is oppressed. Mr. Speaker, there are several constitutional reviews that I've gone through without the likes of my friend and brother trying to raise objections. This bill is intended to open up the economic space of this country and give us a better Nigeria.
Mr. Speaker, before we amend or alter any section of the Constitution, I think it's very important we know what it is and what we are dealing with. So I will crave your indulgence to read section 162(2) that he's referring to, because in my opinion, and I'm sure in the opinion of many seated here, it's a well-crafted section that is meant to protect the unity and diversity of Nigeria. With your indulgence, may I read, Mr. Speaker? Section 162(2) says, the President, upon receipt of advice...
Honorable Jimmy, Honorable Alema Dakin, good afternoon to all of you.
Ali JC. The President, upon receipt of advice from Revenue, Mobilization, Allocation, and Fiscal Commission, shall table before the National Assembly proposal for revenue allocation from the Federation account. In determining the formula, the National Assembly shall take into account allocation principles, especially those of population, equality of states, internal revenue generation, land mass, terrain, as well as population density. Mr. Speaker, I believe this is very fair to every section of this country, and I don't think we need to change or alter anything in this section. It is my view that this section should be retained as it is. I so submit, Mr. Speaker.
This constitutional amendment, Mr. Speaker, the House needs more information about this so that the members will know what they are voting on. the mover of this bill with the 7 other people, I would say they're a bit economical to the House because we need to know under which principles would they want to amend Section 162, subsection 2 of the Constitution. We need to know the principles behind that. They need to break it down, let us know the rationale, because we don't have the bill.
I'm sure the bill must have been sent to
We don't have
our
the synopsis of the bill,
platforms.
Mr. Speaker.
It has been gazetted.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, I'm not saying the bill is not gazetted, but the issue is, what are they amending?
That is why I asked him to explain in detail. But I think if we feel that we need more explanation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Bente, I will advise that you step down the bill to next week to allow members on Tuesday, we can represent this bill on Tuesday, so that members can take a closer look at what your bill entails, and then we take an objective decision thereafter. What do you think?
I don't agree. Mr. Speaker, my very distinguished colleagues, before this time, I alluded to a portion of our national anthem, where Abiante should not be singled out to begin to say all that we are saying. Mr. Speaker, you have sat down there and you have referred several alterations to the Nigerian Constitution, to the Constitutional Review. So if Abiante is being singled out today, it goes to show that whatever we are saying and doing here is of no consequence, of no effect.
This is not the case.
Mr. Speaker, please. Mr. Speaker, please, sir. Please, sir. You asked me to expatiate. The portion that I have only requested to be altered is to look at the principles of derivation. We have even passed a part of what I am asking for. In this same house today, on bill number 9, it talks about derivation principles. Is it about
But the subject matters are different.
They are the same subject matter.
You should not. Please, I don't want you to be sentimental, Honorable Abente. Please sit down.
Mr. Speaker, I'm requesting an alteration to the derivation percentage. That's all.
Sit down, please. Please, I beg you. Sit down. There is nothing emotional in this. Why we had to pass it. But where we have constitutional amendments that are very, very sensitive, we need to take time to go through and see the whole content before we take decision. So that at the end of the day, we'll all own to whatever decision we take. And that's the reason why I feel that since members do not have enough information, you are supposed to also present ordinarily a write-up to circulate to members for them to see X, Y, Z of the whole thing. Have you circulated to members? Members have not been given, so they are not adequately equipped to comment on this. Nothing will happen to a bill. We'll just give a little more time for members, now that they are aware of this particular request from you, to go through, and then on Tuesday, we'll resume debate on this particular matter. I don't think if there's any issue, and just a 1 week extension will not hurt the consideration of this particular bill. So with your kind permission, we can step this bill down to Tuesday next week for continuation of debate. Agreed? Thank you. The 12th order of the day is a motion on the need to investigate the abandoned Abado Isoyi water scheme, standing in the name of Honorable Isiaka Ayokule Ibrahim. Honorable Ibrahim is hereby invited to move the motion.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to move a motion and present before the entire House my very dearest colleagues and leaders of a need to investigate the abandoned Agbado Isoyi water scheme projects. Distinguished honorable colleagues, the House notes
that the Agbado Isoyi water scheme as a regional water project conceptualized to compensate the people of Agbado, Okearo, Ibaragun, Akute, Ajuwon, Isheri, Ojodu wards in Ifo local government area of Ogun State from the World Bank assisted Lagos State Government Iju and Okearo water supply projects, both of which are cited and located in the 4 wards mentioned above. Also note that the Agbado Isoyi water scheme was captured in the year 2006 appropriation, uncontroverted and awarded same year to Mrs. O'Hara Construction Company Limited for the sum of 560 million naira. The project proceeded smoothly with the construction of massive industrial boreholes and groundwater storage tanks, but was suddenly abandoned by the federal government at 54.37% completion stage. The House is therefore worried at the high rate of abandoned federal government projects despite the huge investment, especially on this very project at Agbado Isoyi water scheme, therefore achieving no result till date. The House resolves urge the Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation to activate the process of resumption of work at the site of Agbado Isoya water scheme. 2, mandate the Committee on Water Resources to investigate the cause of the abandoned Agbado Isoyi water scheme and also mandate the committees on water resources and appropriations to make provisions for the completion of the outstanding components of the Agbado Isoyi water scheme project in the year 2025 budget estimates. Mr. Speaker, distinguished, respected, honorable colleagues, I so moved. Thank you very much, sir.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion as moved by my colleague and neighbor, Honorable Ibrahim Isiaka. I so second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. That is it. This motion is referred to the Committees on Water Resources and Appropriations for further legislative action. The 13th order of the day is a motion on the need to address the progressive decline in the Nigerian sports sector, standing in the name of Honorable Kabir Amadou. Honorable Amadou is hereby invited to move the motion.
I rise this afternoon to move this motion on the need to address the progressive decline in the Nigerian sports sector. Mr. Speaker, the House notes that the glory and the honor Nigerian experienced during the golden era of sports, where sport helped break down divisions and showcase the country's best talents. Mr. Speaker also notes that the emergence of the legends in track and the field events like the Izingo brothers, Seun Ogunkoya, Mary Onyali, and Chuma Ajunwa, Sule Lapido, the tennis player who made Nigeria proud, aware that the 1992-1998 national football team class, including the Atlanta 1996 Dream Team, achieved Olympic gold in 1996, symbolizing Nigeria's football dominance during that period. Mr. Speaker, worried that for over 2 decades, Nigerian sport industry has declined significantly, with less progress in prominent African sports like basketball, boxing, football, and athletics. Factors contributing to this decline include inadequate administration, mismanagement, and carelessness from officials. An example is the omission of Pebo Opili from the 100-meter event at the Olympic 2024, yet to be identified by the Nigerian officials. Mr. Speaker, concerned that Nigeria, once a dominant force in track and the field, is now lagging behind Ghana, South Africa, and Cameroon in African Global Championships. The country's sport industry is degenerating, as seen in the 2024 Olympic Games. Mr. Speaker, worried that Nigerian athletes are demoralized and impacted by the decline of the sports sector, which has been a defining factor in the country. Issues such as inadequate infrastructure, poor funding, and governance hinder growth and performance, leading some athletes to defect or give up to their careers. Mr. Speaker, the following prayers were resolved. Number one, to urge the federal government to declare state of emergency in the Nigerian sports sector to address the challenges and revitalize the industry. Mr. Speaker, secondly, to urge the Federal Ministry of Sport to allocate adequate funds toward the development of the sports infrastructure, athlete welfare, and the grassroots programs to ensure sustainable growth in the industry. And the third one, which is the last prayer, Mr. Speaker, to mandate the Committee on Sport to investigate the decay of the Nigerian sports sector and propose necessary reforms required to rescue and rejuvenate Nigerian sports sector for the benefit of athletes, stakeholders, and the nation, and report using powers for further legislative action. Mr. Speaker, I so move. Thank you.
I rise to second the motion moved by my brother, Mayor Palace, Kabir Ahmadu, the chairman of Sports Committee. I so second.
I want to commend the mover of the motion and to add to the fact that one of the major reasons is the paucity of funds, as highlighted by the mover. I therefore want to add prayer 4 to read, mandate committees on appropriation and planning to make available adequate provision for the sector. Then secondly, prayer 2, I also want to amend prayer 2 based on the strength of the fact that I don't think it's the Ministry of Finance that allocate funds. Rather, they propose funds. It is therefore my advice that the prayer should read, also to urge the federal ministries of sports to propose adequate funds, while budget and planning to allocate adequate funds toward the development of sports infrastructure, in the industry. I so move, sir. Thank you very much.
I rise to second the motion heavily moved by the amendment heavily moved by my colleague. I so second.
Those in support of this motion as amended should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the committees on sports. What are the other committees, Honorable Anka? Appropriation and planning. So this motion is referred to the committees on sport, appropriation, and planning for further legislative action. Honorable colleagues, the 14th order of the day is a motion on the need to revoke the contract work on Numan Jalingo Road, standing in the name of Honorable Sadiq Abbas Tafida. Honorable Tafida is hereby invited to move the motion.
I rise this afternoon to move a motion on the need to revoke the contract work on Numan Jalingo Road. The House notes that Numan Jalingo Road is a trunk A federal government road that links most of the cities in the north with the eastern part of Nigeria. Also notes that in 2017, the construction of the road was awarded to Dues Projects Nigeria Limited for 11 billion naira with a completion timeline of 20 months by the Muhammadu Buhari administration. But no progress has been made at the site in 7 years. Aware that in 2022, during a visit to the site, the former Honorable Minister of State Works and Housing, Honorable Maazu Sambo, stated that the federal government had allocated 3 billion naira to continue the project, attributing the delay to COVID-19, but progress remains slow for over 30 months. Concerned that the contractor gave a conflicting information stating that 1,500,000,000 naira had been disbursed for the project, and citing security challenges as hindrances to progress. Worried that conflicting reasons have not been resolved and contractor Do Project Nigeria Limited lacks necessary capacity for continued construction work, leading to different excuses. Disturbed that bandits, armed robbers, and kidnappers have taken advantage of the deplorable situation of the road and turned the area to a permanent hub for criminal activities. Cognizant of the need for the federal government to prioritize development of the Numan-Jalingo Road to enhance commercial activities, the House resolves to urge the Federal Ministry of Works to recommend the revocation of the contract on Do Project Nigeria Limited and re-award the contract to competent contractors. 2, also urge the Ministry of Works to make provision for the contract in the 2025 budget estimates. Also mandate the Committee on Works to invite the Honourable Minister of Works to clarify the position of the contract and report within 4 weeks for further legislative action.
Considering the sympathetic situation that these people are, that is Numan-Jalingo, it forced me or compelled me to stand up and support the motion. I so second, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I want to amend prayer 1 to urge the ministry, where the mover said that to urge the Ministry of Works to recommend the revocation. I want to move that we don't need the recommendation. The ministry has the power to revoke the contract. Therefore, the prayer is supposed to read that the Ministry of Works to revoke the contract from Deus Project Limited and award it to another contractor. That's number 1. Number 2, I don't think we need prayer number 3, Mr. Speaker, where the mover said that the Committee on Works to invite the Honourable Minister to clarify the position of the contract. I don't think we need this prayer 3. The Ministry of Works has the power to revoke the contract and award it to another contractor. Then the second prayer to the Ministry of Works, Planning and Budget to make necessary provision for the contract to be in the 2025 estimate. That's my amendment, Mr. Speaker. I so move. Thank you.
First amendment.
I rise to second the amendment as ably moved by my honourable colleague.
Of this amendment, you say aye. Those against, you say nay. That is have it. The second amendment is in respect of deleting prayer 3. Is that what you said? Prayer 3? Mandate the Committee on Works to invite the Honourable Minister, right? So any seconder to this amendment?
Mr. Speaker, I said we don't need prayer 3, not necessarily. We already no need to call the minister to clarify the issue of the contract again. That's what the prayer is saying, Mr. Speaker. Then my amendment is to delete the prayer 3, Mr. Speaker.
I agree with you. There is a contradiction. If you are going to maintain prayer 1, then there is no need for prayer 3. But you can as well also delete prayer 1 and leave prayer 3. It all depends, but the two can go together.
Amendment.
So any seconder to this, prayer 3? Okay, leader.
Believe there is no need to delete prayer 3 because our committee has to report back to the House. If you delete the prayer 3, then that means the committee is not going to report any information about the contract or any investigations or any positions that they have taken. So I believe the prayer 3 should be maintained. There are procedures to revoke contracts. If not because prayer 1 has been mandated, I will have advised you delete prayer 1 and 2 and allow the committee to engage them, investigate, and report back. Because these are legal matters. We cannot just do it without any investigating and knowing the status. Thank you, sir.
Can't we amend prayer 3?
Amendment.
Yes, but we are not done with the second amendment from Honorable Kabiru. You want to amend it?
Right, Honorable Speaker, what I'm saying, according to Honorable Ali Jesse, the heading of the motion is need to revoke the contract work on Newman, Mr. Speaker, not to investigate the contract. It's to revoke the contract. According to the heading of the motion, then that's the reason why I say we don't need prayer 3 if we can maintain prayer 1. Unless we delete prayer 1, then we maintain prayer 3.
We cannot act without investigation. No matter how glaring the situation is, ours is for us to first of all investigate and then recommend appropriate measures. So for us to outrightly say revoke, I think it is unparliamentary.
I therefore amend, sir. Propose to amend, Mr. Speaker.
So we'll have to rescind this unless if...
Amendment.
It has to be a rescission because we have already hit the government concerning this particular one. And the appropriate procedure for rescission is to come back after a period of time, right? Or can we do it immediately?
There could be further amendment, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. Okay.
Amendment, Speaker.
Honorable Abete.
Mr. Speaker, since we have not taken the motion as it is, I think we still have the opportunity to get it right. Mr. Speaker, I want to propose that we delete prayers 1 and 2, and in its place, urge the Committee on Works to investigate the project as specified and report back to the House in 3 weeks. Thank you.
Any seconder?
I rise to second the amendment that the House investigates the contract and reports back to the House in 3 weeks. I so second.
Those in support of this motion as amended should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committee on Works for further legislative action. Just a point of correction on an earlier resolution passed, the 10th order of the day, which is seeking to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to create Isu, Injaba, and Ikwere and Uwegele federal constituency. The earlier position was the motion to be referred to the Committee on Constitutional Review. After further discussions, we agreed that electoral matters should also be included for this referral. So please take note accordingly. The 15th order of the day is a motion on the need to strengthen Lassa fever emergency response corridor to curtail incidents and fatality of the disease outbreak in Nigeria. The 16th order of the day is consideration of 5 bills standing in the name of Honorable Julius Ihovering. Honorable Julius is hereby invited to move for their consideration.
I rise to move that the following reports be considered by the Committee of the Whole. Senate Bill 345, House Bill 1975, House Bill 1598, House Bill 1384, and House Bill 714. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
I rise to second
Honorable Fullerton, you are welcome.
the motion moved by our leader that the House do consider the following bills: SB 345, HB 1975, HB 1598, HB 1384, and HB 714. I hereby second, Mr. Speaker.
Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable colleagues, the leader of the House, can you move that the House resolve to the Committee of the Whole to consider the reports mentioned earlier.
Resolve to Committee of the Whole in order to consider the reports outlined earlier. I so move.
I rise to second a motion by our leader that the House do resolve to Committee of the Whole to consider the reports earlier mentioned.
Say aye. Those against you say nay. That is of it. House resolved to the Committee of the Whole.
To be considered is for an act to provide for establishment of Federal University of Technology in Laro, to make comprehensive provision for its due management and administration and for related matters. I invite the Leader of the House to give the synopsis of the bill in 1 minute. Leader, please.
This is a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of a Federal University of Technology in Ilaro. And clearly, as articulated in the documents before us, its main purpose is to offer instruction, training, and research in technology and allied areas for the production of quality and skilled technologies. I think we need this, particularly at this time. I recommend that my colleagues support this bill. Thank you.
We'll be here, 25 minutes, 30 minutes will be out of here to join our committee members in various committee rooms, so it won't take time. So, clause 1 to 10. 10 to 20, 20 to 30. The shadows, explanatory memorandum, the long title. Most respected colleagues, the second bill to be considered is for an act to establish the National Youth Service Corps Fund to provide a sustainable source of fund for the National Youth Service Corps. Skill acquisition, training and empowerment of corps members, training and retraining of the personnel of the NYSC, development of camps and NYSC formations and facilities, and for related matters. Leader, please, synopsis in 1 minute.
This bill addresses this directly. To cover all corps members, personnel of NYSC, orientation camps, formations, facilities, and overall improvement, essentially empowerment of our corps members, the development of their camps, in order to equip them with relevant skills for post-corps life. I recommend again that we take this as part of our contribution to national growth and development.
Up to 26 schedule explanatory memorandum and the long title of the bill, the main part of this bill. Clause 1 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 26. The shadow, explanatory memorandum, the long title of the bill. Most distinguished colleagues, the third bill to be considered is for an act to prevent, prohibit, and redress sexual harassment of students in tertiary educational institutions and for related matters. I invite the leader once more to give us the synopsis of the bill.
Help advance the efforts to bring sanity to the relationships and engagements between genders in our academic institutions. Essentially, protect the students, protect the teachers and workers in the university system. I think our colleagues should look at it properly and give it the necessary support.
15, the explanatory memorandum and the long term will be made part of this bill. I'm going to take this bill one at a time. Clause 1, clause 2, clause 3. What are you carrying?
Amendment.
Can you read that clause 3 very well? I'm seeing something that looks like unprofessional drafting. I'm seeing offenses, other offenses here. I'm seeing number 4, grabs, hugs, kisses, rubs, strokes, touches, or pinches the breast, or hair, or lips, or hips, or loose talk. And in legal drafting, this is too graphic. I was expecting that some of the lawyers were here as well as some of the seasoned legislators to look into that. It could be coined in different ways. Leader, what do you have to say to this?
Let the committee go and look at it again. There are better ways of putting this. When you say kiss, what exactly is the kiss? Is it the French kiss or the Nigerian kiss? Which one is offensive? Yeah, they're different.
It might sound very graphic, but this is the experience, the lived experience of many females
and even males in higher institutions. That's why, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, as the sponsor of the bill, it was very intentional that we have, yes.
Under the interpretation clause, if there are words capable of ambiguous interpretation, you explain them there in a more specific, more defined manner. And in the body of the provisions of an act to have these very graphic wordings, they are not in tandem with the best global practices in drafting of any piece of legislation. So, without defeating the essence of the purposive intention of the legislator, there is every need for us to review how to coin the wordings and still achieve the same essence that you intended to achieve by the time you put this drafting together. I think that should be enough on this video.
This bill is a very, very important bill, and it is past due. So it is very, very important that we do what we have to do with regards to this urgently. I've had the opportunity to quickly look through this bill, and I see that section 3 is the only section that is very, very vivid. That's the word I will use for this. But then I can understand the point of the person who drafted this bill, that in true life, the words hug, kisses, rubs or strokes, touches or pinches are words that are in the dictionary. And as long as they're in the dictionary, the English dictionary of the English world, then I see no reason why we cannot forge ahead with this bill. Because no other word can describe hugs, kisses. A kiss is a kiss. A stroke is a stroke. A touch is a touch. And a pinch is a pinch. Have been harassed and have lost their education because of these words that we may deem inappropriate. It has destroyed many lives. And as such, this House must take this very seriously. Stepping this bill down is delaying the inevitable.
There is a standard in drafting legislation. I'll come back to that, but let us hear some of our seasoned legislators here on the issue.
I am thinking that a bill of this nature was passed in the Ninth Assembly. I do not know, I can't get the details. A bill like this was passed in the Ninth Assembly. So maybe they will give us. I don't think there's any intention here by anyone, excuse me, to repurpose the essence of this bill. Like as Sister Tolu mentioned, it's a very important bill. We all support it. But I think that it could do with more elegant, elegant drafting. You know, even in legal construction, the things you have mentioned, you know, would deem to exclude any other thing that you have not mentioned. Because in law we say the express mention of one thing or some things is the amounts to exclusion of others. So you could do with a more liberal, you know, description that will cater to all the things you had in mind. You know, my view is that stepping it down to make a reappearance in the next 1-2 weeks is not a big deal. It's been too long in the coolers. It's made its way here now. I don't think that waiting a little more time to give it a more professional, to use, you know, an everyday language, touch, will not be too much. So that's my small intervention. Thank you.
The similar bill was passed by the Ninth Assembly. I've asked the secretariat to investigate and get back to me. You say you want to do what? You want to comment on that? Okay, please.
In the Ninth Assembly, but it did not get presidential assent. So after, in line with Order 12, Rule 7, after it was gazetted and presented for first reading, it was recommitted again in line with the House rules in total. So just to provide that context from the Ninth Assembly, it was passed in the Ninth Assembly in both the Senate and in the House, and then presented but did not get presidential assent. Okay, I wouldn't go back to the issue which you... The same, in total, sir. The same form, sir. Correct, Mr. Chairman, sir.
I'm sure the sponsor of the bill knows what to do. If you need help, you can consult my office so that we can get the team of legal drafters attached to my office to help you, to make sure that we clean it up the way it's supposed to be, without losing any intention of the bill. And this we can do in 1 week, 2 weeks, without being delayed like Honorable O'Brien. We can achieve the two things. Quality bill, save time as well. Agreed? Carried? As a house. Carried. So this bill is stepped down by the leave of the House.
And those were resolutions of the House plenary of 23rd October 2024. We caught up with the Chairman, House Committee on Reformatory Institutions, who gave insight into steps being taken to improve the condition of correctional facilities in the country.
Since we inaugurated, we have been trying our best to do oversight. And in this oversight we do, there is no provision, there is no budgetary allocation for the transport of any member to oversight function. It is the members that source for what they use to go to that oversight. And we are doing this thing to make sure we keep faith by the duty and bound by us by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And what we have done in all these correction centers is that we have tried as much as we can to make sure that the welfare of inmates are improved and their health conditions in so many places. And you find out that what we are able to record is only 1 year break in Suleja. The other one was a disaster in Maiduguri. And the CG with other teams of the staffs and the Minister of Interior is doing everything possible to make sure there is a rehabilitation that is going. The major problem we are having in finance, there is no money they can use to complete on those ongoing projects. The little that was appropriated to them is not enough compared to the condition and high rate of cost of things, materials today. So, and we need the staff, the welfare of the staffs of the correction centers. We need training schools to be rehabilitated and built to the international standard. And that is the major issue. The only organization that are contributing and helping immensely to correction centers is UNODC. They are the only one that we see what they are doing. They are doing in Maiduguri, they are doing in Andamawa, they are doing in some other places. That is only people that have come to help. So we are looking forward. Other private participation like Dangote, Boa, and so many, Dollar, and whosoever should come to participate in making sure we really have the reformatory institution fixed in this country. Because these people we are talking of are human beings, and they are a threat to Nigeria's security if they are not really taken care of or reformed as we think of. Because if they are properly reformed and integrated to society, things will change. They will not go back to the crime. We are pleading for Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to approve intervention to the correction centers. Intervention to the correction centers will help a long way. And the implementation to rehabilitate all the training schools. Most of the training schools where the staffs and other things are being trained are liquidated. For so many years now, they have not employed. A place where you have almost about 2,000 or 4,000 inmates, you only have 50 people to mine. How do they do it? So there is no money. So we're asking Mr. President to approve for urgent recruitment of people to engage into correction service. And equally, the motion is all about increasing the capital budget. So many of all these 3,000 capacities of correction centers are abandoned. It's not yet completed in each of 6 geopolitical zones. There should be a provision for the money for those things to be completed so that most of these correction centers will be decongested. And the other way in which the reformatory can really attract revenue for this country, there are so many of those people if we shrink the entrepreneur into those areas by making sure they engage into education, practical education, fiscal education, entrepreneur. It will really help. And those things will come out to the market. It will be source of revenue. Like you see some of them that are doing bead, some of them are into tailoring, some of them are into so many things, carpentry. If now that we introduce a skill acquisition of tailoring in correction centers, there is no need to have most of this uniform of the correction centers will be sold outside because we have people that are competent. And so many of the farm settlements are dormant because now there is innovation of the mechanized farming. That is why we're asking for intervention. We're asking for PPP, private participation, those people that feel that they can come over to take over those farms, so that a lot of things, if those farms are really working, the way it was planned is that they can generate their food they are eating from there. But because of certain things, they cannot do such. We need mechanizing instrument to make sure those farm settlements are ongoing. And most of those farm settlements, rice mill can establish there, mined by the inmate, controlled by the inmate, and it will still have something to yield to the economy of this country.
And that's the size of this episode of the program from the National Assembly. We thank you for your time. Do join us again next week for another episode of the program. I am Itaire Ikben. Stay patriotic and committed to nation building. Bye for now.